Level 1. The boyfriend, age 26. You meet her on a Tuesday afternoon near campus. She is reading a book you have never heard of. You ask her about it. She smiles and explains it. You barely listen because you're looking at her face. You're 26. You make $52,000 a year at a marketing firm downtown. You rent a one-bedroom apartment with a roommate. Your car has 100,000 miles on it, and the check engine light has been on for a year. You ask her to dinner. She says yes without a hint of hesitation. You pick an Italian place you can almost afford. You count the cash in your wallet twice before you go in. She orders the cheapest pasta on the menu. You don't understand why until later. She's being kind. She doesn't want you to feel small. You start dating. Twice a week becomes 4 times a week. You laugh until 2 a.m. on park benches. You fall harder than you have ever fallen for anyone. She makes the whole loud world go quiet. Then one night, you type her last name into a search bar. Your stomach drops straight through the floor. Her father is on a list, a famous list, a list with a number beside his name. The number has 10 digits in it. You read the same paragraph 4 times. You set your phone down and stare at the wall. You almost don't text her back the next morning. You think about ending it before it becomes serious. A man like you doesn't marry into a family like that. That only happens in movies, and you know it. But she calls you that evening and laughs at your worst joke. You forget the number for a few hours. You decide to keep going and see where it leads. You have absolutely no idea what you just signed up for. Level 2. The fiancé, age 28. 2 years pass faster than you expect. You love her completely. You save for 8 months to buy a ring. You skip lunches. The ring costs $4,000, and it terrifies you because you know her father could buy 10,000 of them and not notice the charge. You propose on a hiking trail because it is free and it is yours. She cries and says yes before you finish the question. You feel like the richest man who ever lived. That feeling lasts exactly 1 week. Then you are invited to the estate to meet the family. A car is sent for you on Sunday morning. The driver wears a suit nicer than anything in your closet. The front gate takes 90 seconds to fully open. The driveway is longer than the street you grew up on. The house is not a house. It is a compound with wings and a name carved into stone above the entrance. Her father shakes your hand and studies your face. He asks where you grew up. He asks what your father did. Your father fixed air conditioners for 30 years. You say it plainly, and you do not apologize for it. Something flickers in the old man's eyes. You cannot read it yet. Maybe it is respect. Maybe it is nothing at all. Then the lawyers arrive. There is a prenuptial agreement. You read every page. It says you walk away with nothing if the marriage ends. You pick up the pen in front of all of them, and you sign it without hesitation. You are not here for the money. You need them to believe that. More importantly, you need to believe it yourself. Her brother watches you across the dinner table the entire evening. He smiles politely. His eyes are as cold as a bank vault. He has decided you are either a threat or a joke. You are not sure which one is worse. You go home that night to your tiny apartment. You lie awake feeling 2 enormous worlds pulling you in opposite directions. You open your laptop. You start reading the business pages. You write down words you have never needed before. Equity, leverage, liquidity. You memorize them like a second language. You want to belong. You cannot afford to wait for them to accept you. You have to build your way in. Level 3. The newlywed, age 29. The wedding is not your wedding. You learn this slowly and then all at once. 600 guests. You know perhaps 40 of them. 2 senators shake your hand like a stranger. A former president sends a video message. The flowers alone cost more than your annual salary. Your mother wears a dress she bought on sale. She stands beside billionaires and holds her chin high. You have never been prouder of anyone in your life. You move into a guest house on the family property. The guest house is larger than any home you have entered before. The staff call you sir, and you flinch every time. You make your own bed one morning, and a housekeeper asks you, gently, apologetically, to please stop. You are confusing the staff. You are 29 years old, and you are on trial every single day. Every dinner is a job interview you never applied for. Her brother corners you at a garden party with a drink in his hand and tells you that people like you come and go. He tells you the family has seen your type before. You smile and thank him sincerely for the warning. You file it in your memory like a document. But something unexpected happens in the library. The old man keeps a room full of books, serious books, history, finance, the kind of reading that built the empire rather than admired it. He finds you there one morning, reading one of them. He says nothing. A week later, you ask him a real question about a deal he made decades ago. A real question, not flattery. He pauses. Then he answers for an hour. It is the longest he has spoken to you. You listen like your life depends on it. Because it does. Level 4. The son-in-law, age 31. A year passes and you are still an outsider. You have quit your marketing job because it stopped making any sense. You were writing copy about toothpaste while your wife managed a global foundation. The arithmetic of your life collapsed. Now you have no job at all. That is its own poison. A man needs work the way he needs air. So you show up to everything. Charity galas, foundation meetings, board dinners you were not invited to, but were not excluded from either. You learn the name of every person who matters. You learn who is rising and who is being quietly pushed out. You become a careful student of the family itself. Then your son is born. The old man visits the hospital the following morning. He looks at his new grandson for a long time. Then he looks at you in a way he never has before. He puts one hand on your shoulder. He says, "Come and see me next week. Just the two of us." You do not sleep that night. You hold your newborn son and you wait for the sun. One of the family's doors, the ones you could never open from the outside, is finally beginning to crack. And you understand, holding this child in the dark, that you will do whatever it takes. Not for the money. For him. For the life you're going to build around him that is worth more than anything with a number attached. Level 5. The apprentice, age 34. The meeting in his study lasts 3 hours. The old man does not offer you a fortune. He offers you a chance, which is something better. One of his companies is bleeding money. Nobody else in the family wants it. He hands it to you like a test, because it is one. You are 34 years old, and you have never run anything larger than a marketing team. You are terrified. You are deeply grateful. You never show either. You throw yourself at the work. You read every report twice. You ask questions until people are tired of seeing you arrive. You find the leaks. A manager skimming for years. A contract hemorrhaging money every month. You fix what you can fix. You fire who you must fire. The first time you let someone go, your hands shake under the table, but your voice does not. 18 months later, the division turns a profit. It is a modest profit, but it is yours. And everyone in that family knows exactly whose name is on it. You walk into the family dinner that month, and the old man nods at you. A real nod, not a polite one. Not the nod you give a stranger who held the door. The nod you give someone who has earned something. Her brother stops smiling at you entirely after that night. He begins working against you in small, deniable ways. A rumor here, an approval delayed there, a recommendation quietly undermined. You feel the knife, but you cannot see the hand holding it. Your wife warns you one night in bed. She has known her brother her entire life. She tells you he destroyed her last serious relationship years ago. She tells you he is patient, and he is committed, and he will not stop. You listen. You say nothing. You go back to the work. Knowledge is the only true currency in this family. You begin collecting it patiently, the way the old man collected it. Not to use as a weapon, but to use as a shield. For the family. For your children. For the name above the gate that is now, in some quiet official way, also yours. Level 6. The board member, age 38. You're in the seat the hard way. You sit at a long table with men older and colder than you. Real estate across 4 continents. Shipping fleets. A media arm. A bank most people have never heard of, but everyone has touched. These men have known the family for 40 years. They see you as the help who married up. You let them keep thinking that for as long as it serves you. You do your homework better than anyone else in that room. You walk into every meeting having read what others only skimmed. You ask the one question nobody wants asked. You become the man who knows where the money actually sits, not where it is reported to sit, where it actually sits. That distinction is real power, and you learn to wield it with both hands. Then the brother makes his mistake. He pushes a deal in open session, a deal that benefits him and damages the family. structured carefully enough that most people around the table miss it. You don't miss it. You take it apart with numbers, calmly, in front of everyone. No anger. No theater. Just the mathematics laid bare until there is nowhere to hide. He never forgives you for that humiliation. That is fine. You are not asking for forgiveness. That night the old man calls your private phone. He says, "You saw something the others missed." He says, "We should have dinner. Just the two of us." You understand that a line has been crossed. You're no longer family by marriage. You're a useful family. In a family like this one, that is rarer and it is worth more. But the cost is beginning to show. You drink too much coffee. You sleep 4 hours most nights. Your blood pressure climbs and a doctor warns you twice and you ignore him twice because there is always another fire and the fires never stop. You miss your son's first football match. You miss your daughter's school recital. You make it up to them later. Later is the family's oldest curse, and you are starting to understand it from the inside. Level 7. The Fixer, age 43. There are problems that can never go through the board. There are problems that can never be written down. You become the man who handles those. A family member is arrested abroad, and the story must disappear before it reaches the press. You make calls. You know lawyers in 3 countries by their first names. You know which editors take meetings and which ones take other things. The story dies before it breaks. A former business partner threatens to go to reporters. You fly to meet him alone. You do not threaten him. You sit across a table in a hotel lobby and you listen, really listen, for the thing underneath what he is saying. Because you learned long ago, in a coffee shop when you were 26 years old, that most people are never actually angry about what they say they are angry about. They are angry about something older, something smaller, something that has nothing to do with money. You find it. You give him a version of what he actually needs. He walks away satisfied. The story stays buried. You carry secrets now that are not yours to share, not even with your wife. You begin to understand the loneliness the old man wears like a coat. Power does not make you more connected to the people you love. It makes you more alone inside rooms they cannot enter. You come home late. She is asleep. You sit in the kitchen and stare at the dark garden and think about the park bench where you laughed until 2 a.m. and how that version of you would not recognize this room or this life. You chose this. You would choose it again. That is not a contradiction. It is just the truth. Level 8. The Right Hand, age 48. The old man is in his late 70s now. His body is slowing even as his mind stays sharp. You run the things he can no longer manage. You are not the heir by blood, and you never will be. Her brother holds that claim on paper. But you hold the operations, the relationships, and the trust. Everyone in this family understands that the real inheritance has already transferred, quietly, undramatically, over years of earned work, to you. Your father dies 2 winters before this. He passes in a modest hospital room in the city where you both grew up. He never fully understood your new world, but he was proud of you in the particular way of men who do not have the words for what they feel, but show it in other ways. In the way he kept every newspaper photograph of you, folded carefully in the drawer by his bed. You give the eulogy at his funeral. A working man's funeral. Small, honest. The kind of funeral where people love the person in the casket rather than the name. None of the billionaires come. You stand at the front of that small room and weep like a boy. And that fact, the empty chairs that could have been filled by powerful men who did not come, tells you everything you will ever need to know about where real loyalty actually lives. You go home and hold your children. You make them work ordinary summer jobs. You make sure they understand the value of a dollar they earned with their own hands. You have watched what inherited wealth does to people raised inside it without discipline. Her brother is the clearest example. Drinking too much now, his business is failing, propped up quietly by the old man to save the family's face. You could destroy him. The information exists. The leverage is there. You choose not to, because your wife loves him despite everything. And that mercy, the choice not to use power you genuinely possess, is the one true luxury that real power can afford you. Level 9. The Steward, age 54. The old man's health collapses in the dead of winter. You are at his bedside more than you are at home. One night, he calls you into the room alone. The machines blink quietly in the dark. He takes your hand and tells you a truth he has never said aloud in 20 years of knowing you. His son cannot run this family. He has known it for 2 decades. It has broken something in him. He tells you that blood built this empire, but blood will not keep it standing. He asks you to protect the family when he is gone. Not the money, the family itself. The grandchildren, the name above the gate. He makes you the steward of everything he spent a lifetime building. You sit there holding the hand of the man who once interrogated you. The man who made you feel like the smallest person in the room the first time you walked through his gate. You realize with a shock that you love him. Not like an employer, not like a benefactor, like a father. You tell him you will protect every one of them, including his son. He squeezes your hand. He closes his eyes. The transition begins before he has even gone. You restructure the trust quietly. You build protections around the grandchildren. When her brother finally understands what is happening, he rages, accuses you in front of the family of stealing his birthright. You sit him down alone. You tell him the simple truth without anger. You are not taking his inheritance. You are guarding it. For his children, there will always be a seat at the table for him. For the first time in over 20 years, he has nothing left to say. The long war ends. Not with a victory, with something better, with exhaustion on both sides and a quiet that finally means peace. Level 10, the patriarch, age 60. You're standing at the head of a cathedral. The pews are full. Senators, a former president, in person this time, not on a screen. Men whose names appear on buildings and whose phone calls you have taken in the middle of the night for 15 years. You give the eulogy the way you gave your father's eulogy. With honesty, without performance. You speak about a complicated man who built something enormous and feared, most of all, dying alone. He did not die alone. You walk back to your seat. You look at your son, in the business now, sharp and humble. Your daughter, running the foundation with a fierceness the old man would have admired. Her brother in the row behind you, sober at last. At peace. The family held together, not by blood, by the work you did for 30 years with your own hands in rooms no one outside this family will ever know about. The fortune is real. The number has more digits now than the one that made your stomach drop at 26. You signed papers that move amounts of money your father could not have conceived of. You should feel triumphant. Mostly you just feel the weight. You think about the Italian restaurant where you counted the cash in your wallet twice. You think about the hiking trail where you proposed, and she said yes before you finished asking. You think about the prenup you signed without reading the fine print because you were not there for the money and you knew it and you needed them to know it, and that truth, held consistently, proved slowly, over 34 years of unglamorous work, was the only thing that made all of this possible. She finds you that evening walking the dark grounds, the way the old man used to walk them. She takes your hand. She says nothing. Neither do you. The silence is the same silence you found at 2 a.m. on a park bench 30 years ago, and it still means exactly what it meant then. The money was never the prize. She was the prize. She is still the prize. She is the only thing in this entire world that the fortune could never have bought, and the only thing you would not trade it for. Somewhere out there tonight, a young man is sitting across from a woman in a coffee shop. He doesn't know her last name yet. He will type it into a search bar, and his stomach will drop the way yours did. He will think he is out of his depth. He will be right. He will sign things he doesn't fully understand. He will walk into rooms he was never built for. He will be tested in ways he cannot predict, by people he cannot outfight, only outlast. He has no idea what he is about to marry into. But he will learn, level by level, year by year, one earned inch at a time. They always do.